गुणगणार्थान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिधि नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवाणी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेमा प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वांश्च कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, there is some background noise. I'm not sure if it is. Okay, now it's gone. Okay.
Sorry, can you repeat?
No, I was saying there was some background noise, but now it's fine. Yeah.
Is the background noise still coming?
No, now it's fine, Prabhuji. Yes, it's fine now.
Okay. Yeah. So we are continuing our Bhagavad series, and I think Prabhuji was mentioning that the fourth chapter is over in the last discussion, correct? And we are supposed to begin from the fifth chapter onwards. So we'll be seeing some of the verses from the fifth chapter, some starting few verses, and we'll be discussing on that. So today our topic of discussion can be from the first 7-8 verses from the Bhagavad Gita, fifth chapter, and we can call it as work in devotion versus dry speculation. So we will try to see. I will share the verses also, and then so in the fourth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, what was happening till now is actually in the second chapter, when Krishna started explaining the Bhagavad Gita, there Krishna spoke about the person who is called as Sthita Pragya. Sthita Pragya means self-realized soul who is well situated internally, and with the knowledge he has with him about the soul, with that knowledge he acts in the world. But what happened at the end of the second chapter, Arjuna could not understand what Krishna is trying to say. So in the third chapter beginning, Arjuna asked a question to Krishna that, Krishna, in the second chapter you explained me about the knowledge of soul, and you also told me to fight. So what I should do? Should I just gain knowledge or should I fight? So then Krishna explained in the third chapter about Karma Yoga, how working with the knowledge of soul is better than not working at all. And Krishna explained the whole chapter, third chapter. And because Krishna has to explain Arjuna how to work with knowledge of soul, Krishna also explained the fourth chapter, which is called as Divya Gyan, transcendental knowledge. And Krishna glorified knowledge so much in the 4th chapter that Arjuna again became confused. He started thinking, what Krishna is saying. Sometimes he says to me, Arjuna, fight, do your duty, do work. And then sometimes he glorifies jnana, and knowledge is so much, knowledge is so great. He says, Nahi jnana sadrasham pavitram idamuchyate. In this world there is nothing more purer than knowledge. So Krishna, what are you trying to say? I am confused. Are you trying to inspire me to work, to fight? Or are you trying to inspire me to, just gain knowledge? I am confused. So that's why in the beginning of the 5th chapter, Arjuna asked again the same question which he has asked in the beginning of the 3rd chapter. So you can understand that voice is not clear. Somebody saying, if the voice is not clear, let it know.
Yes, Prabhuji, there is an echo around actually.
An echo and background, something is not able to talk.
Okay, just a minute then. And just. Hare Krishna. How is on now?
But it's still like echo, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Still ego?
Yes, Prabhuji, still echo.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. How is the sound now? Will it go?
No, Prabhuji, I think still it has an echo. I think, Prabhuji, if you can try headphone or something like that.
Okay. Give me a minute. Hare Krishna. Is the sound better now? Hare Krishna.
Little better, Prabhuji.
It is better. Okay. Okay. Lalpu is better sound, huh? Correct. Echo is still there or?
Yes, Prabhuji, it's better.
Sure. Or are you just saying like that?
No, Prabhuji, I think when you speak more, then we'll come to know it.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare.
Better, yes.
Coming clear?
Yes, yes.
How are you? बढ़िया हूँ मैंने तो पूछ
Okay, it's a better sound. Fine. So we'll continue with this only then. Okay, so what I was saying in the, I forgot the flow. I was giving you the revision of the last the flow of the how the fifth chapter is supposed to be. So I was saying that in the second chapter Krishna spoke about the Sthita Pragya, and in the third chapter Krishna spoke about Karma Yoga. In the fourth chapter again Krishna glorified Jnana, knowledge. So again hearing about knowledge and performing work, Arjuna became confused. So that's why in the fifth chapter Arjuna is again beginning the chapter from the same question which he has asked in the third chapter. So that's how the fifth chapter is beginning. I will show the slides also. Yeah. So you can see here on the screen, this is the whole summary of the chapter number 5. So in the beginning of the fifth chapter, Arjuna's question, Sannyasa or Karma Yoga. Should I renounce the work or should I do the work? And in verse number 2 to 6, Krishna is going to explain how Karma Yoga, which means working with the spirit of renunciation, is better than renunciation and is equal to renunciation. And verse number 7 to 16, Krishna will explain perform Nishkam Karma Yoga that frees one from bondage. And 17 to 9, liberation by focus. So we will now not discuss the last two sections. We will discuss the first two sections, 5.1 to 5.6 in this presentation today. Okay. So this is the whole flow chart of the whole chapter. This PPT will be shared with all of you. You can see in your leisure time. I'm moving ahead. So this is the first one we will decide today. Arjuna Vacha Sannyasa Karmanam Krishna Punaryogam cha Shamshati Yashreya Etayorekam Tanme Bruhi Shunishchitam. Yeah, somebody can read translation here. Arjuna said.
I'll read Prabhuji. Arjuna said, "O Krishna, first of all, you ask me to renounce work, and then again you recommend work with devotion. Now, will you kindly tell me definitely which of the two is more beneficial?" Bhagwad Geeta.
5.1, yeah. So Arjuna is asking a very simple question here. Krishna, till now whatever you explained in the first 4 chapters, it appears to me sometimes you tell me to renounce the work. Arjuna, just leave everything. All this work is a cause of bondage in this world. And sometimes you tell me to work with the spirit of devotion, giving the fruits of the action. So I am confused. Should I give up the work or should I do work? What is good for me? So why Arjuna is getting confused like this, we will come to know like that. So see this slide here. We have to understand what Krishna is trying to say to Arjuna. Krishna is trying to say that Arjuna, Krishna is trying to recommend Arjuna that the spirit of renunciation in work, which is called sannyasa in karma, but not renunciation of work itself. Which means what? That Krishna is not telling Arjuna to stop all the work, but Krishna is telling Arjuna to cultivate the spirit of renunciation while performing the activities. But Arjuna is misunderstanding Krishna, thinking that Krishna is telling him to renounce the work itself. No, that is not. So, karma, which means karma yoga, which means working in the spirit of devotion, renouncing the spirit of enjoying the fruits of the work, that is superior to simply renouncing the work. So, actually, when we talk about spirituality or attaining transcendence or spiritual platform, so there are many paths, but in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is speaking about 2 main paths, which is called as karma and jnana. Now, what happens is, most of the people think that if you have to become spiritual or you have to advance in spiritual life, then you have to stop work. Because as long as you work, you will invite reactions to work, good and bad reactions. So when you invite good and bad reactions to work, then you will be bound in this world. You will not be free. So when you will not be free, then how you will advance spiritually? So that's why most of the people all over the world, especially in India, they have a conception, a wrong misconception that spiritual life means chodo, 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 chodo. You know, tyag, 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 tyag. Give up, give up, give up, give up. And that's why sometimes people out of their naivety, they adore some very renounced sadhu so much. Like sometimes some Baba comes from Himalaya who, has a lot of jata and he has a lot of bhasma around his head. And he sometimes is not clothed also. It's like a Naga Baba. So, and then, and he's giving the, so if some pandal is arranged, so thousands and thousands of people go to take the darshan of such Babas. They say, oh, he's a Siddha Baba, he's some very great renounced person, like that. He has come from Himalayas, like that. So in India you'll find so much, like once I remember in our hometown, when we were small, so we heard that one Khadelu Baba has come. So I used to wonder, who is this Khadelu Baba? So they say this Baba's name is Khadelu because from last 40 years he has never sat, he is only standing. क्योंकि वो हमेशा खड़े रहते हैं, इसलिए उनका नाम है खड़ेलू बाबा. And we saw thousands and thousands of people were gathering just to take a glance of the Baba. So what the point I'm trying to say is that generally the idea of spirituality which people have in their life is the thing that when you give up the things of this world, only then you can advance in spiritual life, only then you can become spiritual, because the more you are in this world, the more you are with the matter, and the more you are with matter, the more material you become. So how can matter can combine with something spiritual? They are both incompatible. So they say like that. So that's why. So the path of Gyan, which is also called as Sankhya Yoga, which is also called as Dhyan Yoga, is the path of renunciation, giving up the work itself. As you can see here, it's called Sankhya Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, Karma Sannyas. So what happens in this path is they study analytically what is body, what is soul. They study the constituents of the material world, the 24 elements, like the Panch Mahabhuta, earth, water, fire, air, ether, and then they study the five knowledge acquiring senses, eyes, nose, ears, skin, tongue, and the five working senses, and the five sense objects, Shabda, Sparsha, Rasa, Rupa, Gandha. In this way, they try to very analytically try to study the whole cosmic creation. And their process is Naiti process. Naiti process means, like, the goal of this Sankhya Yoga, Dhyan Yoga is to understand that I am not the body, I am soul. This is the goal. But to attain this goal, their process is to find out what I am not. So they say, I am not this earth, I am not this water, I am not this air, I am not this fire, I am not this ether, I am not this senses, I am not this body, I am not this, I am not this, I am not this. So this way, by cultivating knowledge, they only try to understand what I am not. And the culmination of their knowledge is if they can finally come to the platform of understanding that I am the soul. Come to this platform that I am the soul, they have to perform a lot of austerities. They have to go to Himalayas. They have to live a very austere life. They have to only eat roots and fruits. And they have to perform very severe austerities because they have to understand I am not the body, I am soul. So this is called as the path of Dhyana, renunciation. So Arjuna is thinking that Krishna is trying to tell me to do this, like that. At the same time, Krishna is telling me to fight also. Because fighting is not a path of jnana. Fighting means that I have to engage in warfare. But Krishna is not telling Arjuna just to fight like that. Rather, Krishna is telling to Arjuna to fight in the spirit of devotion, which means to perform Nishkam Karma Yoga. There is a difference between karma and karma yoga. Karma means simply to perform action which bounds you. But Nishkam Karma Yoga means working with the spirit of renunciation, which means a person is internally renounced, but externally he performs work. And what is the conception of the renounced of a Nishkam Karma Yoga? Nishkam Karma Yogi, as you can see here. So what a Nishkam Karma Yogi thinks, it's a perfect knowledge. He understands that I am not this material body, but then who am I? I am soul, and I am part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. And I want to render service to Him, and I will work in a detached spirit. Like you can see here, many photos are given. Like below, you will find our devotees are trying to distribute books here. It's the Bhagwad Gita and other spiritual books. So they are working, but they are doing it in detached spirit because devotees don't get any commission or any salary for distributing spiritual literatures. Similarly, here we have photo of an industrialist from Mumbai only. Like we have a photo of Mr. Andy Desai, Mr. Rishikesh Mafarlal of Mafarlal Industries. So they are devotees actually. So they are running big industries, but they do their business with a spirit of detachment, means and service to God. Understanding that I am part and parcel of God, I am servant of God. Similarly, here you can see some ladies or girls, they are doing Bharatanatyam, they were performing different pastimes of the Lord for Lord's pleasure. Similarly, devotees are in a family, they are sitting and singing kirtans like that. So this path of Nishkam Karma Yoga, also called as Bhakti Yoga, is a much more suitable path than Jnana Yoga. Just think for a moment, now if somebody asks all of you also, so if you want to advance in spiritual life, how many people in this world today are ready to give up their family, friends, relatives, and leave everything and go to Himalaya and perform austerities and all? If we ask, I don't think anybody will be agree. Even I am not ready for that. What to speak of anybody else? Like that. So, because the nature of the soul is to be always active. Inactivity is very, very unnatural. Unfortunately, in India today, there are so many so-called gurus, so-called sadhus, so-called babas who are propagating a wrong philosophy. If you go to them, what they say, if you ask them, so Guruji, can you tell me the path of spiritual advancement? They say, yes, just maintain silence. Don't speak anything. Don't think anything. Just silence. Just try to hear the sound of silence. And the person become bored after some time. Like, the CEO of Apple industry, what is his name? Steve Jobs. So Steve Jobs, if you read his interview, he told in an interview that, before starting the Apple company, he came to India and he was searching for spirituality. So he went to Himalayas, he met somebody. So he told that, I want to understand God. So somebody told him that you have to climb this big hill on the Himalaya. On the top, one very great sadhu baba is sitting. You meet him, he will tell you about God. So Steve Jobs climbed the hill, he reached on the top. So one very austere yogi was sitting there, and he told, and there were some few other followers also were sitting, and they were all just sitting silent. So Steve Jobs asked, so what I have to do to realize God? They said, no, don't do anything, just sit here and maintain silence. And what else I have to do? Nothing, just you will be given one carrot at the end of the day, eat that carrot and just whole day, don't speak, just sit silent and you will realize God. So poor fellow Steve Jobs, he just tried for 1 week, he became bored. He told, this is nonsense. Rather, let me try to find out God in activity. So he came back and he started this Apple company. Because he thought that, I can find God in activity. So the point I'm trying to say is that inactivity is very unnatural for the soul, and it is not a very recommended path, especially for the people of this age. Like that. Rather, the path of performing actions in the spirit of devotion and detachment, that is what is appreciated, which means Nishkam Karma Yoga. So Nishkam Karma Yoga, Nishkam. Kam means desire, Nish means no desire, Karma means action, and Yoga means connecting with the Supreme. So those activities which connects us with the Supreme Lord is called Nishkam Karma activities. So in spiritual life, we don't have to stop the activities, but we have to overcome the desire for enjoyment of the fruits of the activities. So like you can see in this slide, who is the Nishkam Karma Yogi? So who is he? Suppose somebody asks him, sir, who are you? So he say, I am a servant of God. Then what work do you do? Then he say, I do the work allotted by God. And then how do you do the work? I work hard with sincerity, dedication, and to the best of my ability. And what do you do with the results? I hand it over to God. So anybody who lives with this conception of life is called a Nishkam Karma. This means he understands his identity. I am servant of God. The work I am doing is allotted by God. And I do my work with best of my sincerity. I don't cheat others. I don't get cheated by others. I put my whole heart in my work. And whatever results comes, the result I give to God. Like that. I am not attached to the results. If I am attached to the results, then I will not be Nishkam Karmi Yogi. I will become a Bhogi. Like that. So, you see, understanding this thing is so important. If somebody can live his life according to this principle, he can be very cool-headed. Because in this world, you will find two extremes people go. Like first on one extreme, people want to enjoy what they do, or people want to enjoy the fruits. So that's called bhoga mentality. Bhog. So people do a lot of bhog. Then after doing bhog means trying to enjoy, they become frustrated with bhog. Then then they want to do tyag. So then they go other extreme, tyag. Like for example, people who work in companies, Monday to Friday they work very, very hard. So they, and then they become very tired. Then weekend they want to go to some hill station, some outing, some scenic beauty, some hill station, some mountain valley, Lonavala kind of thing they want to go. And they spend the weekend there. Then again on Monday, they become bored also with seeing all this greenery after some time. Again they say, let's go back, again do some work. Again they do some work. Again they become bored. Again they want to go to the hill station, relax. And then again they want to come. So people go from bhoga, tyaga. Like this, like a pendulum. People keep going back. But this philosophy of Nishkam Karma Yoga, which Krishna is explaining here, is a very, very stable platform where one neither is living in a bhoga mentality, neither living in a tyaga mentality. But he is performing his action in a spirit of detachment and is always enjoying his work. Like that. Like I am remembering one story of one Guruji. So once one disciple of a Guru asked him that, Guruji, please tell me how to live in this world. So Guruji thought for a while what to answer. And then he told, okay, come with me. So Guruji took him to the place where he used to meet different people. So when Guruji went and sat there, the disciple also sat next to Guru. And then some people came to meet the Guru, and these people were bringing a plate of fruits with them. Because whenever you go to meet some saintly person, you should carry something. So they were bringing some plate of fruits. So as soon as the plate of fruits came, and they kept in front of the table, the Guruji told the disciple, bring me a blanket. So a disciple brought a blanket. And the Guru, what he did, he opened the blanket, he covered himself with the blanket, and he took the plate of fruit inside the blanket and started eating the fruits inside. And everybody was thinking what this Guruji is doing. Taking the fruits plate inside, covering himself with the blanket, he is eating all alone. And as soon as the fruits are over, he removed the blanket and he stood up from there and he went away. He didn't even talk to the people who brought the fruits. So the disciple became very, very bewildered. What is this Guruji doing? Very bad behavior. Anyways, then the next day, again Guruji went to that same place where he used to meet people, and the disciple was also with them. Again, some other people came, and the next group came. They also were bringing some offerings, some fruits, like that, and they also came and kept on the table. This time Guruji didn't ask for a blanket. This time Guruji took the plate of fruits, and he was talking to the people. He was asking their names. Okay, so what is your name? And while he was asking the name from the people, what he was doing, he was taking one fruit and throwing in the behind. Then he was taking another fruit and throwing. Like he was asking, what is your name? And he threw one mango here. Oh, from which place you are? And he threw one banana here. Oh, what profession you do? And he threw one anar there. So like this, he was throwing one fruit here and there. So the people who brought the fruit, they were thinking, Arey, what is Guruji is doing? We brought these fruits, such nice fruits, costly fruits, fresh fruits. He's throwing here and there. Like that. So they were bewildered. And disciple also thinking, what is this Guruji doing? Yesterday he was eating all the fruits himself. Today he's throwing all the fruits. I don't know what. And then Guruji, after talking, when all the fruits he threw away, then he went. Like that. Then third day what happened? Third day again Guruji went and sat on the same place. Disciple was also there. Again now a next group of people came to meet. So they also brought a plate of fruit. And they kept the plate of fruit in front of the Guru. And Guruji took the plate of fruits. And this time Guruji told the disciple, bring me a knife. And disciple was a little worried. From last 2 days, Guruji was showing some erotic behavior. Today he is asking for knife. I don't know what he is going to do. So he was a little afraid. But anyway, he brought the knife. And Guruji took the knife and he cut all the fruits. And then after cutting all the fruits, then Guruji was talking to the people who brought the fruits. Who are you? Where are you? What you do? What's the profession? How, and many things. And while he was after talking, Guruji took all the fruits which he has cutted and distributed one piece to everybody. So that just so that and Guruji gave disciple also some fruits, and finally Guruji also ate some fruits. And this time the disciple was very happy. Arey, today Guruji was very nicely, he was dealing with everybody. He distributed the fruits also, he ate himself also, he gave me also. But then disciple was very confused that why Guruji didn't do this in the last 3 days. Last 2 days he was doing very different kind of behavior. So the disciple asked the Guruji, that can you explain me why you acted in the last 2 days very differently? So the Guru explained that, my dear disciple, I want to teach you the lesson because you asked me a question, no, how to live life in this world. So Guru told, see, there are some people in this world who live their life the way I behaved in the first day. These people are called as bhogis. Bhogis means when they receive something in their life, they don't think at all, who has given it, from where it is coming, who is the source of it, how I should utilize it. They only worry about their own selfish enjoyment. So just like I covered myself with a blanket and ate all the fruits myself, similarly these people who are selfish enjoyers in this world, they are called bhogis. Although God is giving them so many things in this world, God is giving them sunlight, moonlight, vegetables, fruits, air, water, everything God is giving, but they never acknowledge the presence of God. As if they are covered with a blanket, they become blind to the knowledge of God and simply want to enjoy the things of this world without ever saying a thank you to God also. So these people are called as bhogis. And then there are another category of people in this world who are called as tyagis. Their behavior is the way I behaved in the second day. Second day, what I was doing, I was taking one fruit and was throwing here and there. Although I was talking to people, I was throwing. The people have brought fruits with so much love and affection, and I was throwing it. Similarly, in this world, there are people, they don't acknowledge that God has given them so many good gifts to live life in such a way and to attain the goal of life. And they simply want to renounce the world. They say, this is Maya, this is Maya, this is Maya, this is Maya. Leave everything, go to Himalaya, like that. They don't want to utilize, God has given them with so much love and affection, so many good things in this world to improve the human form of their life and attain the goal of life. But they are simply like tyagis, they are throwing the fruits away. They are throwing the gifts of God away. So they are also not, they are called tyagis. So the Guruji explained that, my dear disciple, one should not live his life like these two people. Neither like the bhogis, who simply want to enjoy without acknowledging the presence of God, and not like the tyagis also, who also don't acknowledge the presence of God by neglecting his gifts. Rather, one should live his life like a bhakta, like a devotee, like the way I exhibited in the third way. What I did in the third day, people who brought the fruits, I cutted them in equal parts and I gave them back, like that. And I also took it and I gave to you also. Similarly, when a devotee receives all the things in this world from God and he acknowledges the presence of God, and then he offers the fruits of his activities to God, then by offering the fruits or the results of his activities to God, his activities become spiritual. And then what does God do? Does the God keeps all the results within himself? No. God gives back the results to the people in the form of his mercy, in the form of prasadam. And then people accept the prasadam of God, and God also accepts, just like I also accept the fruits I also gave to the people. So in this way, one should live his life like a devotee, like a bhakta. Don't reject the things of this world. Don't accept the things of this world only for yourself. Accept the things of this world, acknowledging that they are given by God, utilize them in the service of God, and share it with others in a spirit of service to God. That is what conception of a Nishkam Karmi Yogi is. That's how he lives. And how can we have this kind of mentality? So this kind of mentality we can only have when we know the goal of life. That I am not the body, I am spirit, soul, I am part and parcel of God. I have come from the spiritual world to material world. The goal of my life is to return back to spiritual world. And whatever time I have in this life with me, I am not here to enjoy this world. I am not here to renounce this world. I am only here to purify my heart. My heart has got a lot of bad things like lust, anger, pride, illusion, envy, greed. So I have to purify my heart from all these things like that. So a Nishkam Karmi Yogi live with this conception, like you can see here. Okay, somebody can please read this slide.
Okay, I'll read, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Shift your attitude from worship to divine. Eliminate the feeling of I did it, I only can do it. We can't do anything on our own without God's sanction. There are many uncertainties in this world. Eliminate false ego and doership feeling while doing a work as a faithful servant of God. Don't take any credit for the work done. Humbly surrender the reward to the God.
Yeah. See, when we are reading this, it may appear that Prabhuji, it appears so difficult because I do so much hard work. How can I not take the credit for the work done? Yes, friend, that is called a Nishkam Karma Yoga platform, which Krishna is explaining us in the Bhagavad Gita. Because if we try to take the credit for our work done and we don't submit the rewards of our work to God, then we will be bound by our actions in this world and will be continuing the cycle of birth and death. So if we are really serious about making spiritual progress, then we have to understand that actually I am not the only doer. Ultimately, God is doing everything, and without the help of God, I cannot do anything. Because the intelligence with I am working is given by God. The strength with which I am working is given by God. The facilities which I am using for doing my work is also given by God. So then, how can I take all the credit for doing for the work done? I cannot take the whole credit. Credit has to be given like that. So, what should be the motivation for doing work? Somebody asked now, the Prabhuji, if I cannot take the credit also of the work, I cannot enjoy the fruits of the work also, then why to work only? Somebody asked this question. What is the motivation? So, the motivation is here. First is purification of heart. Yeah, somebody can please read. I request every time somebody new can read. Every time I want somebody to read. Yes, who will read this time?
Okay, Prabhuji, I will read, okay?
Yeah.
Purification of heart. World is self-sufficient and will continue to operate forever even without us. We require to do good work basically for helping ourselves, to purify our hearts, to elevate us and revive our original pure nature.
Yeah. So see, these points are the points of motivation for work, because just now we discussed the motivation for work should not be credit giving mentality. The motivation of work should not be to enjoy the fruits, because we are understanding Nishkam Karmi Yoga. So for a Nishkam Karmi Yogi, the motivation is something higher. And what is that? First is purification of heart. Actually, we are not helping anybody in this world by doing anything good. Whenever we are helping also somebody, ultimately we are trying to help ourselves only by elevating our consciousness. Yeah, next somebody else can read.
Yes, Prabhuji, can I read?
Yes, please.
Everything is ultimately done by God only. God is not depending on me and you for running or helping this world. We are simply given the opportunities to help others by God to improve ourselves.
Yeah, we are simply given the opportunity to help others by God to improve ourselves. Like, there is a prayer in which they say, I asked God for love and God gave me troubled people to help. मैंने भगवान से प्रेम मांगा और भगवान ने मुझे क्या दिया? कुछ ऐसे लोग दे दिए अपने मुझे जीवन में जिनको मुझे मदद करना, जो बहुत तकलीफ में है. So by helping them, I can get love, like that. So point is that ultimately everything is done by God. God is not depending on me to run this world. Yeah, next. We'll read next.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I will read. I am not indispensable. We simply become the instrument of help because of our willingness to do so. Even if we are not willing to become the instrument, God has thousands of other means to provide help to somebody, if He so desires.
Yeah. So suppose by us some good work is happening. Many people are benefiting by our work. So we should not develop the unnecessary pride or egocentric feeling that I am so great, I am indispensable. People are depending on me like that. No, actually, we are simply becoming an instrument because we are willing to do. Otherwise, if we are not there, God will have thousands of people to give help to other people. Yeah. Next one.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
I am not helping God or others. Hence, any egocentric feeling of helping others should be totally eliminated. In fact, any help done by us should be forgotten as soon as possible.
This quotation, that whatever bad others do, never remember them. And whatever good you do to others, that also you forget. Never remember. So point is that we have to shift our attitude from doership to divine. That is, in sum and substance, what is the subject matter we are discussing today. Is the platform Nishkam Karma Yoga. Actually, if we can come to this platform, our life will not remain the same. We can work with such a cool head, because most of the problems in this world comes because of expectations of rewards, expectations of respect, expectations of reciprocation from others, expectation because so many people come to us when we preach in colleges and companies. So many people come to us and say, प्रभु जी मैंने इतना किया उसके लिए, प्रभु जी इतना किया, प्रभु जी आप क्या बताऊं, प्रभु जी मैंने कितना किया, और प्रभु जी उसने मेरे साथ क्या किया, हाँ प्रभु जी यही क्या भगवान देख रहा है कि नहीं देख रहा है. So people sometimes ask like that, because a lot of expectation clashes, and that's where relationship problem starts coming in. So that's why Krishna explains us here to the platform of divine platform of work instead of the doership platform of work, which means that my motivation of work is not to gain some respect, some credits, some fruits for my own enjoyment. That will never pacify me, that will never keep my mind peaceful. Rather, I should have a higher motivation, the motivation of purifying my heart, the motivation of pleasing God, the motivation to return back to the spiritual world, like that. So, in this way, yeah. So now you can see the further verses. I explained you in the summary practically in the section I wrote today. Quickly we see the verses. Yeah. So this is the second verse. So now Krishna is going to answer Arjuna the same thing which we are discussing till now. So if you remember in the first shloka, Arjuna asked Krishna what is good, to renounce the work or to work in a spirit of detachment. So here Krishna is answering. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Sanyasya Karma Yogasya Nishchayasya Karabhau Tayostu Karma Sanyasa Karma Yoga Vishishyate. The person of God replied, the renunciation of work, which means the path of tyag or jnana, and work in devotion, which means the path of Nishkam Karma Yoga, are both good for liberation. Krishna is saying both paths are good, but of the two, work in devotion, devotional service, which means Nishkam Karma Yoga, is better than renunciation of work. Okay? Krishna is saying like this. Correct. So, the chart explaining about renunciation. Okay, this chart you can see. You see on the left hand side, there's one of our Acharya, Rupa Goswami. He explains that there are two types of renunciation. One type of renunciation is called Yukta Vairagya, which is on the left hand side, you can see. And the other type of renunciation is called Falgu Vairagya, which is improper renunciation. So what is the meaning of Yukta Vairagya? See, the word Yukta Vairagya means to understand that everything in this world belongs to God, and that's why everything has to be utilized in the service of God. That's called Yukta Vairagya, and nothing is meant for my enjoyment. And Falgu Vairagya means that I will not utilize anything only. For example, like for the propagation of Krishna consciousness, we are utilizing so many things. For example, I'm using this laptop for giving sessions to all of you. I'm using a camera. I'm using this earphones. Correct? I'm using so many things of the modern technology. But we are using all these things for what? Not for watching some movie. We are using it for giving Geeta sessions and benefiting people by the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So we are not running away from these things. We are utilizing all the things, all the technology, all the facility in the service of God. This is called as Yukta Vairagya. But people are Falgu Vairagya people means anything material they say. You say, no, this is Maya, we don't want. Like, there was one Guruji. So once he came and sat on his seat and somebody kept one coin, one rupee coin on the seat, which he didn't saw. So he kept on his seat, kept and sat on the seat. And then suddenly he told, hey, something is burning, my seat is burning. I don't know, what is there? He immediately got up from the seat. And somebody took that coin and showed, Guruji, this 1 rupee coin was there on the seat. And Guruji, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why my seat was burning? I cannot tolerate somebody kept this 1 rupee coin below my seat. Oh, and people told, my God, just see this Guruji is so renounced. His whole body was burning because of coming in touch with 1 rupee coin. So, this is called Falgu Vairagya. Falgu Vairagya or Faltu Vairagya. Both are same. On the other hand, once Srila Prabhupada, he was in the Western countries, and Prabhupada saw in the newspaper there's some kind of Falgu Baba who is saying no to the money. There was a picture of a Baba whose posture in the picture was like this. And niche quotation was written that this Baba is so renounced and don't touch money at all. Like that. And Prabhupada told, hey, bring some money, keep on my table, and I will embrace all the money like this, and you click my photo and give him the newspaper and write that this Swamiji wants all the money of the world to engage in the service of his dear Lord Krishna. Like that. And Prabhupada told that we should teach people the right renunciation. Prabhupada told that we can utilize the whole world, we can utilize the whole universe, we can utilize many universes in the service of Krishna, and still it will fall short. So, this is understanding of pure devotee. So, Yukta Vairagya, Falgu Vairagya. So, we are supposed to be Yukta Vairagya, not Falgu Vairagya. Like that. At the same time, Yukta Vairagya is not so easy also, because we have to do it under direction. Because sometimes what happens on the name of Yukta Vairagya, people become Yukta only, and there is no Vairagya. Only they become Yukta. So, it has to be done maturely, and it has to be done under guidance. Otherwise, our misapplication of Yukta Vairagya can again engage us in fruitive activities. Fruitive activities means which create bondage, like you can see in this slide. Yeah, see, this is called fruitive activities. Fruitive activities means seeking sense gratification. This is the cause of material bondage. Like the 84 lakh species of life, and Atma keep transmigrating to one body to other body based on its activity, based on karma. So ordinary activities, ordinary karma, it creates many bodies. So our goal is not to simply perform karma, and our goal is not to simply give the karma also. Only when we perform karma for the service of the Lord will they free us from fruitive activities. So that's what they are saying. Action in Krishna consciousness means purifying the heart through chanting, study of scriptures, taking part in kirtans, eating prasadam, going for yatras, and performing many devotional activities. Karma yoga is better because it is easier to perform, it is safer, it contains jnana within it. So action with knowledge. That's what is told here. Yeah. So renunciation without Krishna consciousness is incomplete, but whereas renunciation with Krishna consciousness is complete. So Actually, we are speaking so much about renunciation. Actually, we have nothing to renounce other than the conception of renunciation. Like, once there was one disciple of Srila Prabhupada. So this disciple told to Swamiji, to Prabhupada, he told, Srila Prabhupada, I want to give everything to Krishna. So Prabhupada asked him, first of all, tell me, what did you have of yours which you will give to Krishna? Everything belongs to Krishna. You are simply a caretaker of Krishna's property. Like that Prabhupada told. So actually, ultimately, everything belongs to Supreme Lord. So, renunciation is nothing about externals. It's nothing about, giving up things. It is about giving up the conception that anything belongs to me. That is why in the Vedic times, there were great kings like King Yudhishthir, King Parikshit Maharaj, King Ambarish. They were great kings living in great royalty, but they were great renunciates also. Why? Because although they were living in great royalty, they never had this understanding that anything belongs to me. They used to always think that this kingdom, my family, my property, my wealth, my body, my very life itself belongs to Lord. Nothing belongs to me. So this conception we have to develop by engaging everything in Krishna's service. I'll just take 2-3 minutes more to end the session. Is that all right, Lalitu? 2-3 minutes more?
Yes.
Sure, Prabhuji, yes.
So this is verse number 3. Krishna is saying about Nishkam Karmi Yogi. Jeyasa nitya sannyasi yo na dveshyati na kanchati nirdvando hi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate. Okay, somebody can read the translation given below. Who has not read till now can read. Yes, anybody?
Yes, Prabhuji, may I read?
Okay, Mataji.
One who neither hates nor desires the fruit of his activities is known to be always renounced. Such a person, free from all dualities, easily overcome material bondage and is completely liberated. O mighty armed Arjun.
Yeah. So, a Nishkam Karmi Yogi, which we were discussing, who is not a Bhogi, not a Tyagi, but he works in the spirit of devotion. Like you can see here, he is one of our devotees distributing books, transcendental literature. It's a Nishkam Karma activity. He is not desiring any fruit out of that activity. So, a Nishkam Karmi Yogi, a devotee, he neither hates the fruits. Fruits are coming, okay, Krishna has given me, I will engage in Krishna service. And if the fruits are not there, the results are not there, he does not become depressed also. He remains equipoised. Like that. So he never becomes bound. He is never bound by actions. Like you can see here. So, how Krishna conscious person is true sannyasi? See the chart here. In the blue box, how Krishna conscious person is true sannyasi? Because he has transcendental knowledge. What knowledge he has? And I am soul, I am not this body, I am part and parcel of Krishna. Like that. And because he has this perfect knowledge, the result of perfect transcendental knowledge is liberation. So when we keep on working in our life with this knowledge will ultimately lead us to liberation from the cycle of birth and death and attainment of the Supreme Lord. So for attaining liberation, we need not to go to Himalayas or renounce the activities. While performing the activities with the right knowledge of service to Krishna, we can attain Krishna. That's what they are saying. Yeah. Verse number 4. Sankhya yoga pratak bala pravadanti na pandita ekamapi yasitha samyak ubhayor vindate phalam. Yeah, somebody can read translation. 5.4.
Okay, Prabhuji, I will read.
Yeah.
Only the ignorant speak of devotional service karma yoga is being different from the analytical study of the material world Sankhya. Those who are actually learned say that he who applies himself well to one of these paths achieves the result of both.
What Krishna is saying, as I told you in the beginning, that there are two paths: path of Karma Yoga and path of Sankhya or Jnana. So Krishna is saying that those people who think that the path of Himalaya and austerities, that is from the path of Karma Yoga, which means living in this world, performing all kind of activities in this world, but with the knowledge of soul and service to God. Those people who say that these are different paths or you will get different results, they are ignorant, Krishna is saying. But those, Krishna is saying that those who are learned people, those who actually know the scriptures, they say that both these paths are same and you will achieve the same result by following any of this path. Either you go to Himalayas, renounce everything and perform austerities to attain liberation, or you live in this world, perform all your activities in the spirit of devotion, service. Then also you will attain the same goal. Both are same, like this Krishna is explaining. Both are not contrary. Here the commentary of various acharyas are given. Yeah. Like you can see here, see on the top you will find the picture of Lord Kapila. He is speaking the Sankhya philosophy to his mother Devahuti. This comes in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Sankhya philosophy means, as I explained, the 24 middle elements, Mahat Tattva, Pradhana, and 5 non-inquiring senses, 5 working senses. It's a lot of analytical study. So by that also person can attain perfection. And you see the below picture. Here is a devotee simply doing bhajan. He is singing the glories of the Lord. So this is the path of bhakti or karma yoga, devotional service. So by that also one can attain. That's what Krishna is saying. Yat sankye prapyate sthanam tad yoge rapi gamyate ekam sankyam cha yogam cha ya pashyati tapashyati. Yeah, please read translation.
Yes, Prabhuji, I will read.
Yeah.
One who knows that the position reached by means of analytical study can also be attained by devotional service, and who therefore sees analytical study and devotional service to be on the same level, sees things as they are.
So we have to understand that devotional service is as good as, or utilizing everything in the service of God is as good as giving up the things of this world. So we need not to give up the things of this world, better utilize, like everybody has got 24 hours in their day. So utilize some time for chanting Hare Krishna. So then your 24 hours will become divine. Then everybody has got some intelligence. So we use our intelligence for many things. So if some part of intelligence we utilize in understanding Bhagwad Gita, philosophy, then intelligence becomes divine. Everybody lives in one home. If we keep a small portion of our home and make a small temple there and keep Radha Ras Bihari there, then the whole home will become like a temple. Similarly, everybody eats food. So if we take a portion of our food and keep in front of God and ring a bell and offer prayers, then the whole food will become divine. Similarly, everybody has got some wealth in this world, some money. Similarly, we give some portion of money in the service of God, then the whole wealth will become divine. So in this way, the path of bhakti teaches us to make everything divine, instead of giving it up like that. Yeah. So I think this is the last slide. Yeah, somebody can read this box, the big blue letters. Detachment.
I'll do it.
Yeah, please.
Detachment from matter and attachment to Krishna are one and the same. One who can see this sees things as they are.
Then you get the perfect vision. If you understand that detachment from matter means tyag, and attachment to Krishna, which means Bhagwan के प्रति आसक्ति. भगवान के प्रति आसक्ति ये उसी समान से जैसे डिटैचमेंट फ्रॉम मैटर है. इसलिए देखिए हमारे भक्त लोग भगवान को कितने अच्छे अच्छे मंदिर आएंगे. फेस्टिवल के टाइम पे देखा है राधा राज देवी मंदिर में कितने खूबसूरत ड्रेसेस पहनते हैं, इतना भगवान का सुंदर मुकुट होता है, सुंदर ड्रेस होते हैं, सुंदर ज्वेलरी होती है. तो जब हम भगवान को सुंदर सुंदर चीजें अर्पण करेंगे तो हमारे उन चीजों को भोगने की इच्छा अपने आप ही खत्म हो जाएगी. इस संसार में हर व्यक्ति स्वयं भोगने का प्रयास करता है, स्वयं भोगना चाहता है. हम सुंदर कपड़े पहनना चाहते हैं, हम सुंदर ज्वेलरी रखना चाहते हैं, हम अच्छा खाना चाहते हैं. लेकिन अगर हम भगवान को ये चीज अर्पण करेंगे, सुंदर ज्वेलरी, सुंदर मुकुट, सुंदर बांसुरी, सुंदर कपड़े, और भगवान की सेवा में अलग अलग प्रकार के 56 को भगवान को चढ़ा के सकाएंगे, तो उसमें अच्छी बात क्या है कि पहली बात तो भगवान को चढ़ाने से हमारी भोग करने की इच्छा जाएगी, और दूसरी बात क्या होगी कि भगवान के प्रसाद के रूप में हमें वो चीजें मिलेंगी। जैसे आप भगवान को भोग लगाते हैं तो क्या रात दिन खुद ही खा जाते हैं पूरा, कि आपको वापस देते हैं फिस्ट प्रसादम के रूप में? तो प्रसाद वापस मिल रहा है। तो इस प्रकार से भक्ति होगा है। सो दैट्स व्हाई डिटैचमेंट फ्रॉम मैटर, अटैचमेंट टू कृष्णा आर सेम, लाइक दैट। Yeah. Okay. So this one chart is here. So this explains the difference between renunciation and work in devotion, which is our topic of today. So you can see here what is it explaining. So there is renunciation of work on the left hand side, and the right side column work in devotion. So they say that needs prior purification by prescribed duties. This means if somebody wants to take sannyas in the Mayavadi sannyas, or actually now, then he needs prior purification. Whereas devotional service, the process itself is purified. Then they are saying simply jnana insufficient for liberation, which means, you know, knowledge alone is not sufficient. Along with knowledge, we need action also. Is it not? Suppose somebody only keeps on like, you know, those people who are jnanis, they keep saying aham brahmasmi, aham brahmasmi, I am soul, I am soul. Simply saying I am soul is not sufficient. We have to act on the level of soul. Just like, you know, some student says I am engineer, I am engineer, I am engineer. I simply saying I am engineer will not make you engineer. You have to study the subject, write the exam, take a job, work as engineer, then you will become real engineer. Is it not? So it is jnanis now, they keep studying the books, they keep saying I am soul, I am soul, I am soul, but they never act like a soul. So simply jnana is insufficient. Action must be there. Risk of fall down. If somebody artificially try to renounce this world, artificially try to stop the activities, then they cannot maintain their sannyas. They will fall down. Rather, in the path of bhakti, the success is guaranteed, because we are utilizing everything in the service of God. And the renunciation is complete when our renunciation is complete. And they are still finding out the route. Whereas we have already found out the route, we are watering the route. Who is the route? Vishnu. Like that. So here many such differences are given. We can share this PPT with all of you. You can see in a later time. So in this way, संन्यासस्तु महाबाहो दुःखमाप्तुम् अयोगतः योगयुक्ता मुनिर्ब्रह्म नाचिरेणाधिगच्छति. Yeah, please read the translation.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Translation 5.6. Merely renouncing all activities yet not engaging in the devotional service of the Lord cannot make one happy. But a thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can achieve the supreme without delay.
Yeah, just see this picture on the right hand side. See in the below. Here in the below picture, here is some renunciate. Some, you know, sannyasi is there, renounced, living in Himalayas. See how he looks. He looks bewildered. He looks confused. He looks, you know, he don't know what to do. His renunciation is not complete because he has stopped all activities and is doing nothing. On the other hand, see on the top picture, here are Hare Krishna devotees, you know, the brahmacharis from temple and some other devotees, and they are going for a Harinam Sankirtan. On the street, they are playing Mridangam, they are playing Kartal, they are singing the holy names of the Hare Krishna mantra, and they are distributing spiritual literatures. They did not see their faces, how blissful they look, how bright they look. Like that. So in this way, by engaging in devotional service, that is real renunciation, Krishna is saying to Arjuna. So in the first 6 verses, today we discuss in brief, where Arjuna asked the question, what you want me to do, Krishna? You want me to work or you want me to renounce? What is better? So neither work is better, neither renunciation is better. Rather, work in devotion is better, is the best. So some people say, keval kaam karo, just do work. No, that is not what Bhagavad is saying. And simply give up. That is also not how it is saying. But it is saying, work with the spirit of devotion. That's what is the understanding. And in the next section, from verse number 7 to verse number 12, Krishna gives a little more elaboration of the same principle, which we discussed today with some more example and the qualities of a such a person. And then as you go ahead in this chapter, with much more detail, Krishna explains that how a person who lives his life with this understanding of work in devotion, Vishkam Karmi Yogi, how he gets a perfect vision, how he sees the super soul everywhere in this world, and yet his liberation in the ultimate end. So it's a very interesting chapter, the fifth chapter. Little bit technical, but very, very interesting. So I will end here. Sorry for the delay. I extended some 10 to 12 minutes extra. Hare Krishna. Are there any questions or comments? Lalit, was the session understandable or it went a little more technical?
No, Prabhuji. It was very nice, wonderful and fantastic. As always, you always give wonderful lecture. And I was just speaking to Mataji a few minutes before our class, and I told her that you are going to give the class today. So she immediately realized that you had given a couple of sessions to this class, and that was really wonderful class. So no doubt about that. I'm sure everybody would have taken some kind of lessons, and definitely that will be a kind of taken in their action. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. Wonderful class. If you allow me, I will ask one question.
Yeah.
So, Prabhuji, I think when we always say that, Nishkam Karma, and we also know that we are trying to serve our family and try to, at the same time, work in the Krishna consciousness same time, so that we grow in the path of Krishna consciousness. But then it happens. It's really very difficult. It happens, that during the course of our life, it happens that some turmoil comes, and then you all together, it's very difficult to continue for you to think continuously on the path of Krishna consciousness. It's you by default forces yourself to do that on priority, do those things on priority, and then and then when you think that abhi situation theek hai yaar, ab sochte hain thoda Krishna ke bare mein. That happens. I mean, it happens personally with me. When a lot of chows are around you, it's really difficult to continue to think about Krishna, because I know that it actually it is the time when we should think about Krishna, because you have most of the chows around you, but that's really doesn't happen. And then when we think of lessons from Prabhupada, we feel that the Maya has attracted us so much that it's really difficult to meet Prabhupada's expectations. So just give us a couple of words that would help us draw some line between where you should stop yourself. Andhi aayi to baith jane ka, utne ka nahi. Just give us some thoughts around that. Probably it would help me.
Okay. Yeah, your question is a very sincere question and a very, very practical question, which many devotees, especially in the Grahastha Ashrama, and they feel, because we feel like Prabhuji, we know so much philosophy and we want to do our best in Krishna consciousness, but circumstances, situations sometimes comes in our life, and we have to sometimes compromise here and there, and all the desires there are to do. So I will show you one verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very hope-giving verse, very faith-giving verse, which will help you. What you just see what Krishna is saying. This is a verse spoken by Krishna himself to Uddhava in the 11th canto, chapter number 20. Yeah, just a minute. I'm sharing on the screen. Text number 27, I think. Screen is coming.
Yes, Prabhu.
So you see what Krishna is saying. I'll read the words first. Jata Shraddha Mat Kathasu Nirvinna Sarva Karmasu Veda Dukkhatmakan Kaman Parityage Pyanishavaha ततो भजेत मां प्रीता श्रद्धालुर्दृढनिश्चया जुषामानश्च तान् कामान् दुःखोदर्कांश्च गर्हयन्. See what Krishna is saying, very beautiful. Yeah, read the translation. You only read. Read.
May I read, Prabhuji?
Yeah.
Having awakened faith in the narrations of my glory, being disgusted with all material activities, knowing that all sense gratification leads to misery, but still being unable to renounce all sense enjoyment, my devotee should remain happy and worship me with great faith and conviction. Even though he is sometimes engaged in sense enjoyment, my devotee knows that all sense gratification leads to a miserable result, and he sincerely repents such activities.
So that is true. You saw here what Krishna is saying. Krishna is saying that, see, a devotee has awakened faith in the narrations of my glories, which means a devotee has understood that I have to hear Bhagavad Bhagavatam, he wants to hear, and he knows that, he has already become disgusted with material activities. He understands that material activities and gratification is disgusting. It is no good for me. And he knows that all sense gratification leads to misery. This also he has understood. He has come to this conclusion in his life. The sense gratification leads to misery. But even after knowing that sense gratification leads to misery, even after becoming disgusted with material activities, because of past habits and because of circumstances sometimes, he is unable to renounce all sense enjoyment. He is not able to give all sense enjoyment. So then, what happens? A devotee may sometimes become morose. He says, Krishna, what is this? Although I have so much knowledge, I have so much heard from devotees, I have eaten kilos of prasadam, drank liters of Samarth, and I have done so much. But why, Krishna, I am not able to give a sense enjoyment? Krishna is saying, don't worry, my dear boy. Don't worry, my dear devotee. Krishna is saying, my devotee should remain happy. Please remain happy. Krishna is saying, and what do? Don't just remain happy. After remaining happy, worship Krishna with great faith and conviction. What is the faith and conviction? The faith and conviction is that I should just continue the path of Krishna consciousness. Even though I am not able to give a sense of enjoyment completely, I may have some reversals, but if I continue Krishna consciousness with great faith and conviction, one day my heart will become completely purified. That's what Krishna is saying. Even though he is sometimes engaged in sense enjoyment, either because of habit, because of circumstances, even after knowing all philosophy, he is not able to give up. Krishna is saying, my devotee knows that all sense enjoyment leads to miserable result, and he repents. He repents, just like you are kind of repenting in your question. So he repents. And such repentance or our pitfalls in the path of bhakti, our pitfalls for sense gratification, despite knowing that they are not good for us, they purify our heart. So it's a very hope-giving verse where Krishna is saying that actually one should try his best in the path of bhakti with all sincerity. And because we are conditioned in the material world since time immemorial, it is not a very surprising thing that we will face challenges, we will face difficulties in controlling our mind and senses, or not able to put our best. Krishna is saying, don't worry, be patient, be happy, and continue the practice of the process of devotional service, means chanting Hare Krishna, following four principles, association of devotees, visiting temples with faith and conviction. Then even if by mistake, by circumstances, by habit, even if sometimes we fall back to sense gratification, Krishna will take care. Because every time we do sense gratification, we will feel a guilt in our heart, a disgust. And that kind of repentant feeling will actually purify our heart more and more. And one day we'll find that ourselves we have become pure devotees. Actually, this feeling of repentance itself is a sign of purification. You see, before becoming devotees, have we ever felt bad in doing sense gratification? Rather, we were running after sense gratification, running after sense enjoyment. We used to think sense enjoyment is the goal of life. But you see, what Krishna consciousness has done to us, at least it is making us think that, array, why I did that, I should have not done it. Krishna, next time I'll take care. At least that thought is coming to the mind, which means I'm a purification. So, this verse is spoken by Krishna himself. This means it's a very hope-giving verse for all of us. At the same time, we should not take undue advantage of this verse and think that, okay, चलो भगवान ने तो बोल दिया है ना, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, अभी मजा करेंगे. नहीं, ऐसा भी नहीं करना है. We should not take undue advantage of Krishna's kindness, but we should understand that Krishna is merciful, he is kind, he understands. Krishna is an understanding God. Krishna lives with the principle of understanding first, then being understood. Krishna understood Arjuna first, before making Arjuna understand Bhagavad Gita. Similarly, we are all Krishna's children. Just like parents understand their children. Actually, those parents are successful who understand their children and guide them accordingly. On the other hand, those parents who force their own conclusions on their children, those parents are not successful. Similarly, Krishna is a very understandable parent. They understand, okay, living entities are in the material world, there's a lot of temptations around, but they're trying their best. बेचारा बहुत मेहनत कर रहा है मेरे लिए, ठीक है, थोड़ा कभी कभी इधर उधर गड़बड़ हो जाएगा, no problem. He's trying his best. So that's what. So I hope this verse has given you some hope.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. The topic is very theoretical, philosophical. Right. So you have explained it very nicely. Thank you. Shloka from Bhagavatam is very good to understand for us. It's very philosophical topic, like theoretical and philosophical.
Bhagavad Gita is considered like a graduation in spiritual life. And when you complete Bhagavad Gita, then you come to Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is like a postgraduate study of spiritual life. And then after Bhagavatam, then there's Chetan Charitamrita. Chetan Charitamrita is like PhD, doctorate study of spiritual life. Currently we are on a graduation level. Then in the future, if Krishna allows, we will go to postgraduate and then doctorate. But Krishna consciousness is so wonderful that even if somebody is graduate, he is given the same amount of glory as like a postgraduate. Means in Krishna consciousness there is no upper or lower levels. Everything is absolute. Everything is perfect. Simply by understanding Bhagavad Gita, also one can go back to the spiritual world. If somebody can simply understand Bhagavad Gita. But in the Bhagavatam, it's in more detail. In Chetan Charitamrita, it's even more detail. So there are more and more things to understand. It's a vast ocean. Okay, so Lalitpu, any more questions or should we end?
Yes, I don't think. If anybody has questions, they can ask.
Prabhuji, one Hare Krishna, one last question, which we can discuss later also. What is the importance of Vishnu Sahasranam?
Okay, Vishnu Sahasranam.
In our last classes, the Prabhuji had told us that Vishnu Sahasranam was delivered by Bhishma Pitama on his deathbed to Krishna. And I find it very powerful when I hear it, specifically the M.S. Subbalakshmi, sung by M.S. Subbalakshmi, renowned South Indian singer. It's very powerful. I find it very powerful. I keep it playing at my background when I work. Read about it on the web also, but not very clear definition of it.
Okay. Actually, what happened, I will speak in brief. The history of Vishnu Sahasranam is actually after the Mahabharata battle, when Yudhishthira became the king. So after he became the king, but he was very, very morose and sad. He was thinking, because of me, I want to become the king, this war happened, and so many people died, so many women became widows, so many children became fatherless, so many people were killed, and I am the cause of that. So this thing was constantly pinching his heart, that I am the cause of this war, I am the cause of this war. Because of me, so many people died, because of me, so much destruction happened. And he was not able to pacify his heart. So he went to Vedvyas. Vedvyas tried to pacify him, console him, but he could not understand. Even Krishna tried to console Yudhishthira. But even Yudhishthira Maharaj could not be even consoled by Krishna himself. It was Krishna's plan only. Then Krishna took Yudhishthira Maharaj and all the Pandavas to Bhishma Dev, who was lying on the bed of arrows on the battlefield. And there, Yudhishthira asked this question to Bhishma, and Bhishma, in the answer, started speaking about that he explained many things, that what is the ultimate reason for what all happened, it's the will of the Supreme Lord, it's the time factor which is in action, and many things. And then Yudhishthira Maharaj asked many questions to Bhishma Dev about many dharma. What is Raj Dharma, Stri Dharma, Kshatriya Dharma, Kula Dharma, many dharma, and Bhagwad Dharma. So all the dharma, Yudhishthira Maharaj asked the questions to Bhishma Dev. So Bhishma Dev answered. If you read Mahabharata in the Bhishma Parva, all this section comes. So when Bhishma Dev was about to explain the Bhagwad Dharma, so in the Bhagwad Dharma in the beginning, Yudhishthira Maharaj asked the questions. What questions Yudhishthira Maharaj asked? Yudhishthira Maharaj that, my dear Bhishma, I want to know what is the ultimate religion? Who is the Supreme Lord? Who is supposed to be worshipped? How he is supposed to be worshipped? What is the best way to worship him? Like these questions Yudhishthira asked. So in the answer to it, the answer is Vishnu Sahasranam. Where Bhishma Dev speaks the whole, Bhishma Dev says that the Supreme Lord is Vishnu, and the best way to worship him is by chanting his holy names, and he has many names. And what are the names? He told 1,000 names of Vishnu, which is Vishnu Sahasranam. Like that. But I will tell you a secret now. After speaking the whole Vishnu Sahasranam, you know what he says? He says in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter number 9. Chapter number 9? Yeah, chapter number 9. In the first canto, chapter number 9, Bhishma Dev departure. After he spoke the whole Vishnu Sahasranam, Bhishma Dev, looking towards Krishna, he says to Yudhishthira, ऐशे वे भगवान साक्षात आद्यो नारायण प्रमाण मोहो यम्ना विजानाति गूढ़ चरति मानुषा. And he says the verse that instead till now I was saying you 1,000 names of Vishnu. This is Krishna who is standing here in front of you. अरे यही तो है वो विष्णु जिसके बारे में तो अभी तुम बात कर रहा था. अरे ऐशे वे भगवान साक्षात, अरे यही तो है. जैसे कई बार होता है ना, आप किसी व्यक्ति के बारे में दूसरे को बताओ, अरे वो ऐसा है वैसा है वैसा है वैसा है वैसा है, और उस समय वो व्यक्ति रूम में एंट्री मारे, अरे इसी के बारे में बात कर रहा था मैं, यही तो है वो. So like that, Vishnu spoke the Vishnu Sahasranam, and then he told to Yudhishthira Maharaj, Aishwara Bhagavan Sakshat, Abdyo Narayana Puman. This Krishna, he is the source of all Vishnus, he is the source of all Narayanas, like that. And then this is one thing. Another thing, like why Krishna's worshiping Krishna is so wonderful. If there's a verse in the Padma Purana which says that, not in Padma Purana, this comes in the conversation between Lord Shiva and Parvati. So once Parvati Mata used to every day chant Vishnu Sahasranam, 1,000 names of Vishnu. Where Lord Shiva never used to do Vishnu Sahasranam. Lord Shiva was sitting in his meditation and silently chanting Ram, Ram, like that. So when Parvati Mata returned back after chanting her Vishnu Sahasranam, so she asked to Lord Shiva that, my dear Lord, I never saw you doing any worship to Lord Vishnu, and then I chanted Vishnu Sahasranam. What is the worship you do? So that time Lord Shiva told one very beautiful verse. He says, Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varaname. So this verse is spoken by Lord Shiva. He says, my dear Devi, O Parvati, I don't chant the 1,000 names of Vishnu. I only chant the name of Lord Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti. And in chanting the names of Lord Ram, I get so much spiritual pleasure that I become completely absorbed in this. Shri Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame. My mind is completely absorbed in chanting the names of Lord Rama. And the name of Ram is so powerful that simply by once chanting Rama, you get the same benefit of chanting the whole Vishnu Sahasranam. This means you chant 1,000 names of Vishnu, or you just say Rama, you get the same benefit. And then further he says that when you chant one name of Krishna, then by chanting one name of Krishna, it is equivalent to chanting 3 times Ram. So when I say Ram, 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 this means The same benefit I will get by simply chanting once Krishna. This means if I once chant Krishna, I'm getting the benefit of chanting 3 times Vishnu Sahasranam, with 3000 names of Vishnu. Like that. Now, actually, Ram, Vishnu, Krishna, they are same only. At the same time, the name has potencies. Just like, electricity is the same. But depending upon which bulb you put, the light will come. Even if you put a 0-watt bulb or a night bulb, only little light will come. If you put a 100-watt bulb, bigger light. If you put a halogen, more bigger light. If you put a stadium light, bigger light. Electricity is the same. But depending on which bulb you put, light becomes bigger. Similarly, Lord is the same. But depending upon which name you take, the potency increases like that. So it's very nice that you're hearing that Vishnu Sahasranam. Keep hearing it and relish it. And when that give you more and more happiness, then you hear Lord Ram, and then ultimately when you come to the platform hearing Hare Krishna, that is ultimate platform, nothing beyond that. Like that. So here Vishnu Sahasranam, and you can also hear some kirtans, Hare Krishna kirtans. We will Lalit Prabhu can share with all of you. Some good kirtans are there. If you want to hear classical music, if your classical music is your favorite, your kirtans in classical music. If you are with rock, pop, hop, then we have kirtans in rock, pop, hop. If you like Indian music, we have kirtans in Indian music. If you have Western music, we have kirtans in all music. So point is here kirtans like that. Okay, is that answer your question, Shauryaji?
धन्यवाद प्रभु, हरे कृष्ण.
Okay.
So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for wonderful class. And,
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
we
You
should all
explained
loudly
it
chant
so
3 times
wonderfully.
Hare Bol for Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Hari
Bol.
Bol.
Krishna
Hari
Prabhuji.
Hari
Thank
Bol.
you.
Hari
Bol.
Hari
Hari
Bol.
Bol.
Hare Krishna
Hari
Prabhuji.
Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much.